Hi, everyone. Good turnaround Tuesday. How's everyone doing? Hello, Ren. Okay, I want to start off with the Dixie here. Brock, I think this bounce has run its course. I think we're peaking here. I'm looking for another low. This was a confirmed low, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we're going to make a move to this blue line one more time. I think it's coming in. Well, let's see. Almost all the way down at 92-ish, 92.06. 92.34 is 78.6 back. So I'm looking for this to break. We'll see what kind of lift it gives the S&Ps, if that should happen. Okay, they may, but we'll see. I still think that we get one more low and that there's still another wave to the upside in this correction. We'll see. S&Ps, what a real negative down day yesterday. And I kind of think that may have been it, that the correction's underway. Hello, nice to meet you, Ivelisse. And I'm thinking that look at this low. So to me, 34.25.30 was pretty important when you look at it on the daily, 34.20. So we haven't gotten back there. I think this could end up being a rally to sell, but it's hard for me to want to get in front of the stock market with Microsoft earnings, and so I think there's some major, the RSI can form major earning reports out this week. So, to me, it's kind of like, if you're an index trader, it's kind of like a red event when some of these big ones open. What I'd like to see is some good earnings to fade this week. So the only thing I did yesterday was shorted the yen. I've taken a piece off down here. And, same reason I think the dollar could break to new lows. Actually, the yen looks weaker. And, yields, once everyone started talking about yields going up, wouldn't you know it, we're setting up some type of bear market rally in TLT. I don't think that we're going to blow to new highs, but we could have pretty good short covering rally. There are huge shorts in the COT on this. So, if we're going to get a correction, because I already follow like too many right now for my brain. Okay. I'm covering a lot of ground, a lot of material. I miss trades in what I cover already. We'll see what kind of hay gold can make out of a weaker dollar. It's weaker than silver today. So this is the first time it's been weaker than silver in a while. I'm not going to be interested in looking at the short side of gold until I think US dollar yen has bottomed. Okay. So we're still pretty far away. Well, not that far away from this low was 104.40. So we're about 20 pips away. I want to see where gold is at after the yen makes a new low. All right. And I'd like to see it not confirm on the next low. So using the yen as a key for gold instead of using the gold for a key for yen, because this I had more conviction about than gold. So I'm keen a lot of, that's right, DJ, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and I think it's Microsoft today. So, I don't even want to mess with the indexes, but I'm just giving you some technical areas that 34.25 was pretty important. I did some fibs on it, and 61.8 back from this decline, just this break that we had from this trend line. We're already halfway back here, 61.8 back is 34.30. The S&Ps are going to have to take out this dotted line. Okay, going to have to take out this dotted line before it's able to, accelerate to the upside. And, it looks like we have a lot of stuff coming in at 34.50-ish. You have this moving average, you have the trend line. So I don't think you get real bullish the S&Ps unless we close over 34.55. So I may not do it today. I may wait until tomorrow. It's just the first bounce, but I think that we've started something here. I think the probabilities of a new high before the correction completes to the downside, which we could only be maybe halfway through, a third through. We'll see. Crude bounce right back to the breakdown. See this candle? So we'll see if we could get it back above 39. I mean, this is the easy sale. But, if we get more of a lift in risk and a weak dollar, we could trade 39.50. I think you have to sell all rallies here. And CAD is interesting today. I couldn't buy it and I couldn't sell it, but there still is a possibility for a 3 drive down here in Canada. So just like I think the dollar and yen could break. Yeah, the blue line. Yeah, nice to meet you, Tripal. So we stalled at the moving average. Let's see what Canada does, and maybe we're going to get a drive 3 down here. Let's see where it'll take it. Come in. I'll bring Blake in, get his views and the bias chart. So we'll see what happens down here. We already diverged once, right? This was a confirmed low down here. This did not confirm. And let's see what happens if it attacks 30.50 again. That's still 100 pips from there. But if the dollar is going to make a new low, I do expect Canada to trade down here. So any questions on anything I've covered? You know what I'm thinking? Looking for a new low in the dollar, the yen, S&P's fib retracement. See where the gold is at for a short, gold and silver after the yen makes a new low. And oil maybe back to 39.50. The 39 looks to, well, it'd be much higher. Oh, never short it? Well, okay. I'm going to break your rule if I see the trade, but I appreciate it. Okay. Can I short silver? Would that be okay with you? Because I actually think that's going to lead the way down. Okay. Well, you change your mind all the time. You were talking about $14 silver by year end, right? And I'm not even supposed to interact with you. So you have, you talk about other traders always changing their mind. Every time you say, have a call with conviction, a day later, you don't know. He. All right. Hey, Blake. How are you, buddy?
Good morning.
Good morning, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. It's freezing here.
Yeah, I got cold. I was freezing last night.
Need the heat. Need the heater now.
It's like you can't win. It's like you're either melting or then you turn into ice cubes. It's a little chilly here, which is great. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
You forgot how to put on a sweater.
So happy to wear a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Anyway, the dollar is a little weaker this morning. We have some options that are expiring in the euro dollar around the 118 level. So pretty big. Here, let me see if I can pull them up for you. Give me 1 second. Here, we have these are the options that are expiring today at 118, which isn't a lot, but I guess when there's not a crap ton of liquidity right now, we're not, that might attract a little bit later today. So, as far as the FX market goes, we're seeing some flows definitely go through this morning, some US dollar selling. But as far as the euro goes, and this is somebody pointed this out in the chat room, I can't remember, said like the euro looked like it was a false breakdown below the triangle overnight, which is true. And matter of fact, I don't know if I'm going to be looking at the euro like this. I think I'm going to have to look at it more like a wedge, because I really just don't think we're going anywhere. So I'd be really surprised if we do much from here. I think the euro might be, developing some sort of wedge like this, and we remain consolidated. And I exited my longs yesterday on the euro, not too far away from here, like at 12, or and you can see it's really just not moving. I mean, when we've got let's see, we've got a 30 less than 40 pip range in the euro dollar. It's like, okay, well, there isn't a whole lot going on. But what we have to be careful about is we have to be watching equities. And you saw equities yesterday, we sold off below that 3,400 level. And we've recovered a little bit, and really we're, for all intents and purposes, we're just, right back at,
old support, new resistance.
Yeah, current resistance. We're really just kind of pushing right up against that. And, with no fiscal stimulus coming and the election coming up is it a week from today?
Yeah.
It is a week from today, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it is a week from today. The markets might get a little nervous. So you got to be on guard here. I would be very careful. And for those of you that are like, oh, I'm going to sell dollars, Dale, and I heard you say it too. I just, I have to say, you got to be careful, because if equities do come down, then the dollar will come into demand. So that's something to pay attention to, that we might get some dollar strength. Now, this morning, the dollar actually weakened, and I want to show you a couple things that I was hoping my order might still get triggered. I know yesterday we talked about this Kiwi, and I want to show you this 127% extension of this last leg lower comes in right at the 67.20 level, or it's actually 67. Let me see exactly what the number is. 17, 67.17. Remember, we're still trying to carve out a head and shoulder here, but if you look at the horizontal resistance from the previous shoulder, if you will, comes in right at the same level. So I'm wondering if the Kiwi just basically, just took some stops, didn't quite reach my order, because I have an order at 67.15 and 0.3 of a pip that just didn't get triggered yet. I'm reading my order, so I'm looking at it. I'm sure that there's probably a lot of people trying to sell it right around here. So, with that being said, I'll say the Kiwi resistance. And, the thing about, like, since we're just looking at it, that's why I'm writing it down. We get a move up here into resistance, and we slip back below. If we slip back below like 66, this level right here, 66.80, and all that is another false breakout, but that's going to be support for today. So I'm already easing you guys into the bias chart. See how that works? You guys didn't even know I was doing it, and here we are getting that bias chart together. All right, so here's the euro dollar support overnight, and actually, I'm actually more just thinking this 117.90 level support. And then resistance is going to be up here, 118. What is that? 118.35.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry.
What you've drawn is a descending triangle.
What's that?
What you drew on euro is a descending triangle with a flat bottom.
I call it a bearish wedge. So here, let me.
Okay.
Let me just show you why really quick. Let's go to something that I don't trade often.
Blake, you made the typo on the Kiwi, by the way.
You know what? I don't care. I really don't care. No, I'm just kidding. What did I do?
Good catch.
66, is it 66? 80.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stelios. Thank you.
Well, thank our friends who also pointed it out on the
Oh,
chat.
There's a
thank
lot
you
of
for
good
whoever did.
support, 200 above the market.
So here's I'm just going to give you guys a real quick lesson.
Okay.
This is a bearish wedge. The reason why it's a bearish wedge, because it should eventually break through the lows, because you have consistent lows, lower highs, right? A descending triangle would be like a descending wedge, where it's actually a, whoops, damn it.
See, I call that a wedge.
I call this a descending what? Damn it. There we go.
That's just semantics. As long as you know what to do with it.
Yeah, as long as you know that that's going to be a reversal. So,
Yeah.
and typically speaking, this wedge will break lower, but that doesn't mean it has.
You know, I learned this stuff on dinosaur technicals. All right, so you know, you young guys have different names, but it's called prehistoric technical analysis.
I read books too, but anyway, it's how you decide to call it. As long as you know what to do with it, you're exactly right. So in this case, I'm looking at it, like a wedge, and and I'm just, it can move either way as far as I'm concerned. Did I write down the levels? Oh no, I didn't. This will be 117.90. And I'm not going to put us bullish as I had last week, just because we couldn't capitalize, in my opinion. We could not capitalize on this move out of the triangle last week. I mean, we did to a certain extent, but it was really kind of sloppy and lame and didn't really give us much of a move. So let's look at the sterling. So I'm not doing anything with the pound right now. So 130 and I think we wrote this down yesterday, 131.70. Waiting for headlines. That's all we're really waiting for with the pound. Here's the Aussie. Okay. I mean, look at the Aussie. Look at what we've done since this is going into, the end of the week. I mean, we really have, that's 40. We've had a 40 pip trading range in the last couple of days. I mean, it's horrendous. But you can see this descending trend line comes in. It's capping us right now. So 71.40. If we can break above that, might get a little bit of a squeeze, right? If we can break above that resistance here, because then that might actually get us to, maybe back to the 72 cent level. But flip side of that is support right here. That comes in at 71 cents. We break through 71 cents. And, next thing you know, we'll be retesting the 70, 70, 30, 70, 40 level. They're really important supports there. So we'll write down 71 cents for today. We already went over Kiwi. Here's the Canadian. So the Canadian came under a little bit of pressure too. We broke out of that. This is the descending wedge that we talked about yesterday, Dale.
Oh yeah, nice. I didn't see that.
And here, let me just show you with ForexAnalytix. This is the analysis you got yesterday. Okay. Just intraday analysis. The Luna is stalling at the 618 retracement at the 131.91. A break of this level would put the 132.20 level in play. Why is that? Because it's the 78% retracement, and we broke it, hit the 78% retracement. Now we're pulling back. So now that this is going to be important resistance. But I think the more important resistance is going to be the 132, 40, 50 level up here, if we can get back up there. So, so I'm going to write down 1, 132.20, 132.40. We're still in a range. Dips should be probably fairly well supported to where we're at 131.50, but I'm going to give us a little bit more room than that, because I don't like to write down, oh, we're right on support right now, because, you know, we're going into the North American Open. There could be some, you know, we could push a little further. So this support will come into play around the 131.20 level, 15 level. So I'm going to write that down. I mean, I guess I could do this. Whoops, 131.15. Whoops, dang it. Sorry. 131.50. You know, and we're getting close to that first level of support that's right here. Dollar Mexican peso under some pressure. This is such a crazy move. I mean, yesterday, you know, it rips higher, squeezing everybody out through 21, all the way to 21 in, you know, 15 or 12 or whatever. We've pulled back, and now we're pulling back, testing the lows. It's like crazy. It's all flow related right now, but you can see this is all very critical support down here. But this is 2082, but we could go a little further to 2078. So I'm going to write that down. And then obviously any move back up towards 21, well, we have to write down 21.25. I mean, because that's been our resistance all along. And it's this little channel. This is kind of what I'm monitoring right now. There's your lower trend line of the channel. The upper trend line comes in right at 21.25. So that's going to be, you know, key resistance on rallies. Dollar Swiss. So we basically just came up to previous support acting as current resistance. That's 91 cents. This is 90.32, which is also the 88% retracement of this move, right? Low to high. That comes in at 90.30, basically. And resistance today is 91 cents. Oops. Do that, 91. Okay. Let's see here. US dollar, Norwegian krona. Support right here at 9.12. Resistance still at 9.40. All right, let's go over to the, let's see what we have here. Here's the dollar index. So the dollar index, so you guys know this. This right here, this pink line, this is the multi-year trend line that comes in right here. And we're not breaking that until next week. We may go down and test it, but I don't think we're going to break it.
Where's it at, bro?
Huh?
What price level?
It comes in around 92.30, 92.40, depending on how you draw it. Because, and the reason why we're not going to break that right now is because in order for anybody to push, to really push that trend line, you're going to need to know that we're going to get this blue wave, big stimulus package moving forward. You know, we've got Biden wins, we got the Senate, you know, then the dollar really has the ability to get destroyed, right? Because there's going to be so much fiscal stimulus and you're going to see stocks rip, and, you know, but that doesn't mean that we can't go down and test it. So we might, you know, get back down here again towards that 92.40. Okay. So I'll go 92.40. Whoops. It's important. Support, resistance right now, since we've hit it multiple times, and that looks like it might be even a 38% retracement of this move. And it's close. 50% retracement is just above, but that's going to be 93.10. It's obviously held. So for whatever reason, it's important at this moment. So we have to respect it. Okay. Let's see. Dollar yen. Here's a dollar yen. Failed at 105. I think yesterday we wrote down resistance at 105. Support. Yeah. And remember, this isn't a big triangle, guys. Big, actually a triangle in a triangle. Right? There's a triangle in a triangle. So support is going to be 104.35. $105 is resistance. Let's go over to the S&P. So the S&P, we're just pushing right up against resistance again, because this is now previous support. So that spike low came in right here at 34.20. I bet you that caps it today. 34.18 is our high thus far. And we just have to look at the spike lows. And, you know, what we've done here is, you know, we've actually done some technical damage, which, you know, by putting in that lower low, we've now, you know, almost given us the precedence of breaking lower now. And it may not be pretty too. I mean, we could do this, you know, or do this, right? And ahead of this election, you know, that seems pretty logical that we're just going to be chopping around, moving slightly lower, right? So anyway, support will be that spike low from yesterday. It comes in at 33.62. So I'm just going to write 33.60 as being support. I'm not going to put it in bearish because I don't really, whoops, let me flip this back to range too, because it is. I don't think we're going to, the market's going to implode or anything right now. I don't feel that way at all. I just feel that we're just going to be drifting a little lower. I wouldn't be surprised by early next week, you know, ahead of the election, we're probably trading somewhere closer to 3,300. But it's not like we're going to go straight there. I think it's going to be real choppy. And, you know, you got people that are hell bent on, you know, I'm buying risk because it's going to be a blue wave and, you know, we're going to see stimulus up the wazoo. And then you have other people who are like, no way, Trump's going to win and stocks are going to come back down. And, you know, we're never going to pass a stimulus bill, you know, so that the people on both sides are so extreme that you're just going to see a lot of chop between now and the election. You just are. Gold. And do we have any data coming out? Surprised Stelios hasn't bothered me.
Nothing that the market will care about. Durable good orders.
Durable goods.
Durable goods. Hey, you know, sometimes the Fed cares about durable goods. What do we got there? Is it coming out? Oh, it's almost out. Let's see here. What do we got for durable goods? Oh my God, the market's moving. No, I'm just kidding. It's not doing anything. How much time do we got? Oh, a few seconds. Hold on. I'm going to come back to you, gold. Gold's last on my list. 10
seconds. I'm biting my nails here. I mean,
you can't stand it, right? The
excitement.
The excitement.
The agony.
The ecstasy.
Look at
and
that.
the agony.
Here comes inflation. Watch inflation. Oh, it's coming.
Oh.
Get ready for it, guys. Anyway, durable goods order is a little stronger. Core durable goods a little stronger, revised lower on the overall durable goods from last month, but market's not doing squat. Okay, so that was exciting. It wasn't. Let's finish up with gold. I think the number yesterday is 1890. I think that's going to be the number today. Right? It's right here. And the resistance is going to be 1935. We're trying to break out of this upward ascending channel, but that's not really doing it. So anyway, resistance is going to be 1935, 1940, but I'm going to write down 1935. That's it. Let's hope we get some volatility today or sometime this week. That would be nice. But that's what we got here. There's your bias chart, guys. I don't know if it's changed a lot from yesterday. Let's look. Let's see how similar it is to yesterday, which I bet you it's quite similar.
S&P changed after that break.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess S&P would change a little bit after that break, right? This is,
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the 21st. Crap, I have to go back to the files list in the chat room. Hold on. Here's the chat room. Files list from, I have to go back to yesterday. 26th, here we go. No, that's daily sentiment index. Here we go. Jane and Stelios both posted it. Okay, so here you go. Pretty close to the same, not too
Pounds
different.
the same.
The Aussie and the Kiwi have drifted a little higher, obviously, in risk on.
Canada changed.
Yeah, I mean, dollar Mexican peso moved down a little bit.
And the same.
Yeah, dollar Canadian's pretty much the same. So, yeah, it's it's not a lot different there. So, yeah, it's but don't worry, this is only temporary, guys. It's going to be, we're going to have some pretty high volatility, in the next few days or next week, I'm sure. So just the key is for the next few days is just to keep your head above water. Don't get into too much trouble, right? So Stelios, Steve, how you guys doing?
Good morning.
Mate, good morning.
We're good.
Good morning. So what's happening? We saw some dollar weakness this morning. The euro pushed to the upper end of its range, of intraday range. Gold and silver really aren't moving anywhere. Stocks are coming off their highs now. We're in earnings season. Do you guys have anything that's on your radar that you guys are seeing that's got your attention?
I have a razor blade in my attention, looking to use it quite soon to end this misery of looking at these markets.
Well, we're bracing for volatility, so it's coming.
Yeah,
but on itself, waiting and begging for volatility in a year that we've had a 100-year event type of pandemic, US elections, countries running deficits like 15% or whatever, and markets acting like nothing is happening is just funny.
Yeah, well, with stocks at all-time highs, it makes complete sense. So yeah, it's one of those things that I think that looking back, if you fast forward a year from now, we're probably going to go, wow, can you believe we were here and market was doing this? And I bet you we're going to be in that type of situation. But for now, it's important to stay patient, keep your powder dry, don't get overexposed, and wait for those opportunities. They'll present themselves.
I think
true.
The thing that these markets promote mostly is the fact that for several years, and for the time being, this remains to be the case, even stronger than ever. Price is king, meaning paying attention to price and technical analysis is king, because if you gathered around a year ago the best macro strategists and fund managers and whatever and told them what's going to happen this year and had them predict the market outcome, there is not a single person that would get it right. Not one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, hey, Steve, I'm going to pass it over to you. You guys have a great one, and good luck today, everybody. I'll see you in the chat rooms, and I'll see, also I'll see you at the daily roundup here in 4 hours. So good luck, everyone.
Thank you.
Luck,
Thank you.
Blake.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hey guys, one thing that, normally you think, every dip in the market is going to be supported and we're going to rally again to new highs. The only difference is I think yesterday's breakout in VIX is significant enough that unless the VIX trades back under 30, this market has problems.
Yeah, it has finally broken through the 30 area of resistance. We were talking about that. It actually gapped higher yesterday and kept on moving higher. Pulled back
I think it's a
little bit.
significant event.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it points to further gains. But having said that, I mean, look at this. We've had this type of a year. VIX is above 30, and it has been oscillating at rather high prices in comparison to what was the case for the years that preceded this spike higher, and the market still doesn't really care much. I mean, even this move lower in the, let's take the S&P since it's the barometer, not that the rest of the indices look much different. I mean, it looks very orderly, right? There is nothing that shows panic here. Nothing that shows that market participants are about to run away. So I still don't see the elements of like a big breakdown so far, which is kind of astonishing. I mean, the sell side was trying to persuade everybody that a Trump re-election, as long as that was looking like the main case until some months ago, was extremely positive for the stock rally, and that should get it going. And once polls started, initially shifting slowly and then faster, they just now built the case that Biden getting elected is also very positive. So bottom line, you have the sell side that's trying to persuade you that who gets elected and what kind of policies are being followed is irrelevant, because there are only bullish policies that could be followed, which it has some elements of truth, meaning Trump getting re-elected is earnings positive because taxes are going to be lower for companies, but the market assumes that Biden, who brings higher taxes, which is definitely earnings negative for companies, so stock negative, should bring more stimulus with him, which, as we've seen, stimulus is king. I mean, as long as, the party is going and the punch bowl is spiked, everybody's going to keep celebrating. So, at some point, something has to give, but, we need to find out what.
True.
VIX breakout.
Yes.
VIX breakout. That's all I could say.
Yeah. So far, that's how it looks like.
It means something.
It could point to another attempt to knock on the door of the 40, what was it? 45. Yeah, 45 resistance area. So let's see. If we do spike to 45, we should see an acceleration lower in indices. And in all honesty, I mean, there is no technical argument yet for somebody to really be bearish stocks. But on the other hand, would you actually be buying stocks ahead of the elections? I mean, it's a very dangerous bet to take, right? I mean, it's a different story if you're already long and you have profits, in which case you might just want to lighten up a little bit your position, or you might want to hedge part of it, or you might want to hold all of it, but place some type of a stop loss to protect most of your gains. But would you really be buying here? it's it's kind of a casino mentality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think VIX is telling us that there's a good chance that another leg lower in stocks is definitely overdue. I
Well,
think.
I'm sorry, Stel, but I
Go.
mean, Sansi asked a question: would a Biden win and Trump contesting it create a break? Do you think that could
Yeah,
happen?
I strongly believe that
Yeah.
temporarily, and
Yeah.
stressing out the word temporarily, that would create
Yeah.
a rout in the markets. But
And
I don't
think he was thinking whether Trump would contest it, and he'll contest anything if he
No,
doesn't win.
I don't agree with that.
I know
Dale.
you don't, but
He
he will.
says he will contest everything, but don't forget that there is always party policies are always above and beyond the president, especially when he's not to be the president anymore. So bottom line, what I'm trying to say here is the following. There is a scenario in my mind that Biden will have a comfortable win. And if that's the case, if it comes to election nights, so many people, believing mixed results,
A
contested,
landslide. Yeah.
and he gets an easy win, I don't think that the Republican Party is going to let Trump move forward with contesting it. If results are,
like he cares what they say. Anyway,
you know how
I'm
it
here.
is.
Yeah. He
So,
won't care. Because let me tell you something. That this isn't just about him winning an election. Because if he leaves the White House, he faces all kinds of prosecutions that they couldn't move forward with because he was president.
Okay,
And
let me give you the counter argument. Let's assume that he comfortably loses. Let's assume that. Okay.
Yeah. And they offer him a pardon.
What does he gain? What does he gain by contesting it? I mean, in all honesty, if you contest, such a loss, the maximum thing you can actually achieve is getting people more pissed with you. And in any case, you won't avoid having to, leave the White House and get the next president in, no matter what you do. So, his initial reaction would be to want to contest anything.
Yeah.
But I think, if he comfortably loses, they're going to, persuade him not to do it. And that is going to be extremely risk positive in the short term if that happens. Because, the market is already pricing in.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Ziggy's right. Don't try and think rationally, Steve. Which you're actually more like Mr. Spock than anyone I know. You know who Spock is?
Are you kidding me? Of course, I'm a Trekkie.
All right.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. Yeah, used to watch Star Trek since the 80s, actually.
So, all right. So, what do you think Spock would say to our president the last 4 years?
This is not illogical. This is illogical.
All right. Anyway. All right. I know I'm being political, but anyway.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I'm
supposed to.
Steve, for
I broke a rule. Oh boy.
Yes,
I was listening to what Blake was saying about being careful and everything. I have to say, people who have been on the ForexAnalytix chat,
my politics are from CNN.
I'm heavily in cash. I'm like 90% cash, just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Which makes sense, Lelio. I mean, I think that's a prudent way to go.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'm looking at is gold and silver. They seem to be retesting now. Excuse me, the underside of this kind of like a channel. It was, I think we had a drop now, like a sideways consolidation. It's like a channel correction. I think we're going to be dropping lower, which will coincide with VIX, elevating and equities dropping. So this is what I'm looking at, and you guys know me. I'm an uber bull in both, but I think we're going a little bit lower, and that's where I want to be buying.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Stelio.
Days.
I don't know if we're going lower, but I'm hoping that you're right.
Yeah. I know Gregor's Elliott wave count has them going lower as well a little bit. So I hope.
No. That, to be honest, especially silver, Stelio. Yes. I mean, this is so far. This looks clearly as a corrective rebound. So, especially in silver, I'm optimistic that we can see lower prices to buy.
Yeah, for the first time in I think over 3 years, 4 years, I have no position in silver. It feels really weird. But
Come
I'm
on,
waiting.
you have a lot of silverware there. Eh?
Well, I don't count that. I don't count what's in my vault. I just count.
I asked my mother the other day. I'm like, you know, I have no silver, but now that I think about it, we have a lot of crap silverware, you know, from older generations, etc. How many kilograms? How many kilograms do you assume, you know, we have? She's like, I don't know, 20 kilos. I'm like, you know.
Cool. Yeah, and it's just a waiting game now, and I think we're going to be chopping. I think it's clear that there's going to be no stimulus deal. I think that's probably for sure now, barring a miracle. So
yeah, but you know something, mission accomplished. I mean, no stimulus pre-elections, but the market is now so convinced that stimulus is coming, nevertheless, that in essence it's not a bearish event.
Yeah. No, the market doesn't care if it's going to be today or in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean, for stockholders, it doesn't make much of a difference, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. So we wait. We wait on that. We wait on Brexit.
It's a waiting game. We wait for vaccines. We wait for Brexit. We wait for elections. We wait to see what's going to happen post-elections. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a waiting game.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Dale?
No, man. It's so quiet. It's like nothing else to say.
Indeed.
Unfortunately.
Okay, so back to the markets. What has moved since yesterday that we have to talk about? First of all, gold and silver, really, there's nothing for me to add, you know, in comparison to what we said yesterday. I mean, unfortunately, things are what they are, right? People that are asking for natural gas, guess what? I warned you yesterday, right? That was it. We retested, we back-tested the breakout area at 290. During the time of the webinar, we had already, although it was early in the day, produced an outside white candle on the daily, which is, you know, like a bullish continuation in this case candlestick. And look at today's price action, 6.7% higher. Boom. Exactly at the 127% extension. And I think we still have way more to go. Okay. So bottom line, 290 is now the line in the sand. I think that bulls will keep defending that. I think next stop is roughly at 375, and I think there's more to go. So I do think that natural gas remains one of the interesting markets to trade. Now, crude, on the other hand, keeps losing ground. I'm keep monitoring this channel trend line support. I think there is a decent chance we're going to break through it and produce one more low. That would also bode well with the scenario we were just discussing with Stelios, which is what? Since we have a VIX breakout, we might see finally some profit taking in stocks. That should also be crude oil negative. That should also temporarily be precious metals negative, and that could lead to a rather short-lived move lower in stocks, lower in gold, lower in silver, lower in crude oil, before all of them probably resume their uptrends. So that's a decent probability scenario ahead of the elections. I had this discussion yesterday with the team. If you read, I mean, out of curiosity, I was reading like all bank analysis having to do with their, assumptions on analysis having to do with election outcomes. They can't even agree among themselves. I mean, you see one bank thinking that Trump getting re-elected is like, the most positive scenario. Another one thinking that a blue wave is the most risk-on scenario. Other bank thinking that best case scenario is Biden winning with Republicans maintaining the Senate. I mean, so many different opinions. You really, some will end up being right, some will end up being wrong. I'm not even sure it's not going to be out of coincidence. Simply because this market has stopped caring about fundamentals and, as Dale pointed out before, about what makes logical sense and what not. The DJ to the party is the Federal Reserve, and the willingness of governments for fiscal policies that, of course, necessitates the Federal Reserve and the rest of the central banks, monetizing all the bond issuance to make that happen. So, that's the only thing that makes sense watching, and no matter how sad it is what it is. Anyhow, so that more or less covers these. Now, copper, somebody else asked about copper. Copper has been breaking through this ascending channel. The scenario we talked about before would probably also coincide with the pullback in copper as well. So, all these, bind nicely together for a potential pullback in all these assets, which more or less have a, a risk on, a risk off type of correlation. Opinions are like, yeah, Ziggy, that's absolutely true, mate. Move later in crude is market anticipating Iran production coming back online. Do you think move later in crude is market anticipate? What I can tell you is that the market will find its reasons to pull back, but longer term, I'm bullish. I'm bullish crude oil and anything that has intrinsic value. So I do believe that crude oil is going to end up resuming its uptrend. There are a lot of people that are rushing to, to call the crude oil market as in essence, dead man walking type of market, because, that's it. We're phasing out crude oil, and crude oil is going to be worthless, and it's going to be replaced by, green energy and all that. It's too early. It's too early. Yes, there is definitely a long-term trend, in that direction, but trust me, it's going to take too long for you to actually be able to benefit from that type of a thesis. That's a longer term thesis, and at some point it's going to be proven to be the case. But until that happens, I honestly believe that we can even see crude oil at triple digits once again, that more or less nobody thinks that can happen. I think it can. I actually think it can. WTI looks very heavy. Yeah, we already talked about that. Natural gas, we talked about that. Dale. Oh, we have questions about cryptocurrencies, by the way, which, it's a good opportunity to talk about them because, yes.
Yeah, I'm here. I had it muted.
Okay. I want you to give me earlier questions because I came in late. I had a meeting. So
Okay.
Bitcoin, we had already mentioned when we were breaking through this trend line resistance that is a very bullish development. Now, watch how we broke out from this symmetrical triangle, because once we broke out from this trend line, we then formed this symmetrical triangle. This more frequently than not, is a signal that we're consolidating and we're going to resume in the direction of the prior trend, which was higher. That's exactly what happened. Now we're testing this key resistance area roughly at 13,500. Now, if we break above this, which, so far so good, I think there is more to come, and, rather quite a lot more to come. So I see nothing bearish here. And Ethereum, not as clean as Bitcoin, and definitely hasn't even retraced, a fraction of what Bitcoin has. But still, I mean, it looks okay. Back testing this 390 area, next upside target, it's a retest of 490 once again. So, yeah, I think they look good. Bitcoin looks better, though. I can tell you that much. So do we have any questions from earlier that I can't see?
Not really.
We do have questions about avoiding expiring
Platinum
contracts.
from
Hey, Steve,
Amira.
can you trade? Yes, you can, Dimitri. If you have a provider that gives you CFD, yeah, you can. So a friend here is asking for USD Indian rupee. Listen, this is what I see here. not a real trend so far, but this rebound from these lows looks very corrective to me. So bottom line, I tend to believe that USD INR is going to have a hard time going through 74 and a half. I think the path of least resistance remains to the downside. And having to do with the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, since you're asking, here is the Nifty. What I see here is a triangle that makes it very likely that we're going to see another push higher. And having to do with Bank Nifty, I don't want to keep repeating myself. I see no reason why somebody would want to be long banks anywhere. So as you see, I mean, compare Bank Nifty with Nifty. See how much it's underperforming. I don't think that's going to change. I mean, I think you want to have long exposure to stocks. Bank stocks should be your last, very, very last option. That's what I think. I still see this as a bearish type of a long-term, consolidation rebound. I think it's going to fail before it gets to new highs, most likely than not. And that applies more or less to any bank indices you look at globally. It's the same deal. USD Turkish lira, by the way, it's doing its thing, and it's going to keep on doing its thing. I mean, it's unstoppable.
S&P's faded pretty good.
Let me see.
Right from the 3420 old support, new resistance. VIX.
Yeah, the VIX so far is, a short inside
open.
white candle.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing to see here so far. Nothing to see here so far.
Someone wants a Euro HUF. What's HUF?
The Hungarian Forint, right?
Forint, okay, Jeffrey.
There it is. Looks like a very healthy uptrend. I can tell you that much. Looks like a very healthy uptrend, right? I mean, last time we had a look at it was probably somewhere here, judging from the chart. And yeah, it looks healthy. I mean, I do see a big divergence here in the RSI, but that on its own does, it's not a timed indicator. So, I mean, against, I would say 356, makes sense to expect more upside. As simple as that. We haven't had a daily close above 366, 367. I think that would be a very bullish development. So here it is. Right, this is resistance area, which we're testing at the moment. So from a risk reward perspective, you can be short here, because you're risking very little. And, if we get rejected, you can make a lot more. But in all honesty, it looks to me like, there's a very good chance that we're going to end up breaking higher and extending. Okay, so be careful. Yeah, that's what I think about it. So in essence, we remain in this like 342 to 366 area. Do we have Supreme Court pick further pushed women away and healthcare voters away? This is a big discussion that we don't have the time to have. I myself, I'm a libertarian. I wouldn't be voting for any of the two parties in the US. I can tell you that much if I was a US citizen, which I'm not. Personally, I do like the new Supreme Court justice that was elected. I do believe that politicians have abused the Constitution in amazing ways because they want to avoid actually amending it, going through the procedure of amendment. I have no arguments against amending a constitution. I have problems by doing it by having a constitutional court interpret, quote unquote, based on what you want, things that were clearly stated in plain English. I also believe that the whole thing with the Constitutional Court has become a charade, because if the Constitutional Court was actually doing its work right,
You mean
and
Supreme
properly,
Court?
Supreme Court. It's just the Greek terminology is Constitutional Court. So I'm using the translation. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, here it's called the Constitutional Court. Yeah. The Supreme Court shows that things are not moving in the right direction, because if the Supreme Court was doing its work right, political affiliation should play no role whatsoever. Right? It shouldn't play a role if you're a Democrat or a Republican, because their job is to interpret the law that is written very clearly. But as I said, this is a big discussion, and it's a matter of perspective. So that's my perspective. So personally, I like the new judge, but that's my point of view, and it has nothing to do with political affiliations. As I said, I'm more of a libertarian. Okay, so
right.
Dale, who do we have?
Matt Thistle.
Okay. We've had Matt multiple times in the past. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember him. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Matt, I just made you a panelist. Looking forward to talking to you. It's been a while. Welcome back to Face, Matt.
Check, check. Hello? Am I on?
Hey, you have a check for me?
There we go. Check one.
All right. I'll give you my bank wire number. Faster. All right, you want to share your screen, bro? And we could start wherever you want. I guess the feature today is action in cryptos. But you want to start with the election? Okay.
No, where are we here?
You're showing the election. Okay.
Okay. Here we go. So, hi everyone. And
Matt, this is Matt at DJ Thistle 01. Matt is a very insightful market guy and technical guy. So that's why I keep bringing him back. If I didn't think he had great content to offer,
awesome.
Be here. So go ahead, bro.
Okay. So, all right. So I got like 40 tabs in 30 minutes, and as usual, we'll plow through this.
Okay.
Where did we go here? So I think back in here when I first made the chart, I was on your program, and then last time I was here, and basically, what I was seeing based on something I'm not going to ramble on about was my sort of investment thesis was we were going to experience this large 1987 style event, which I believe we have, boom, and rebound.
Right.
And so the question was, can Trump pull this off? Because, if so, and it comes back, he can get reelected. And if not, and it was back down in here, it's just not going to happen, right? So I think pre-coronavirus, up in here, that, it was definitely a Trump landslide. And if markets were down in here, that would definitely not do anything good for Trump. This is his sort of 50-50 range, and he's got it. And we will talk about that at the end. So things are moving as they should. Here was that chart again. Yeah. Natural gas is something that we've been following for quite a while. We had the pipeline explosion in Western Canada here, and then everything just walked itself down. I think I was probably on the show, 5 times as this all came down and touched bottom, and it has, just like the same fractal here, and over and here. So it seems like this part here and here is repeating.
So your last chart, the fact that we're, much closer to all-time highs than March lows, is that this bodes well for a Trump victory.
This is the best chance that he's got at this point. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And so as we were talking about this sort of rise in the markets, We've also seen bottoming of natural gas, and as we'll get into it in a second here, this rise in gold. So is this because other things are getting stronger, or is it because we're seeing a weakening of the US dollar, which is when you look at natural gas, USD, you know, numerator, denominator kind of thing.
Right.
So as of right now, I mean, this is a large possibility. We talked about this before, you know, the bottom of this could end up getting as low as like 60 cents. And you had another fellow that you said was looking at like 58. Does this need to happen? Does it need to happen? But I mean, at this point, we're seeing weakness. We're seeing people, you know, call for rallies and things like gold. And, you know, there's going to be with just endless stimulus coming simultaneously everywhere. I think there's going to be a lack of currency wars. Usually when these things kind of heat up, you know, it's this juggling of devaluing as things go, and it's a battle back and forth. But if everyone can go at once, you know, who's to say that that can't push people towards emerging markets and hit the US dollar a bit. Silver and gold, we've seen this nice move to all-time highs and pull back for gold. Silver has been following roughly the same kind of pattern, but delayed. And that's fairly normal historically, that silver sort of lags and then catches up. And often in crypto, people talk about gold and silver being related, you know,
They're cousins.
Yeah, so gold and silver are as to Bitcoin and Litecoin. And in those same kind of relationships, Litecoin or altcoins tend to lag and then catch up later too. So the same kind of dynamics is in play. And I think even the same kind of, you know, walk up to near 50% and pull back under the channel, kind of walk up under 50%. There was this, you know, little
I had a guy on, pretty interesting, Matt, that did a comparison fractals with gold and Bitcoin. They look
for sure. Yeah.
And silver and Ethereum. Not
it's all bang on, totally. So I think we're going to see, you know, silver should follow its way up. And again, if we do see any, you know, devaluation on the USD side, that helps push up the, you know, the XAG side as well too. So something possible here is, as people, you know, if this does continue to correct, is that this kind of peak, the drive above peak and down. So peak, drive above peak and down. So some consolidation here before, you know, rolling off later would probably be best for silver if that whole situation can manifest. So, and if I were to take the bars and overlay it here, that's so people can see. Platinum is just in its own, I mean, there is the kind of a overhang of supply, so that's going to push down on the market. But usually something like this is going to want to follow the rest of the precious metals, and we've seen palladium do, you know, amazing in the beginning of the year and the end of last year. So while you might not want to, you know, like if you look at people like Livermore, who are great traders, you know, they want it to be, you know, when the market is moving in the direction and the sector is moving in the direction, and then when the bellwether of that sector is moving in the direction, that's what you follow. And then with the laggards, when they're, you know, when they're following in ratio, then you hop on them. But when they're lagging too far, his thing was always, it's doing that for a reason. So you don't want to chase something that's not moving. So I think with, this is the palladium gold ratio. I think when the ratio gets a little higher above resistance in conjunction with the US dollar side, palladium USD, getting a little bit of strength, I think then taking the strength in that market to try and get a ratio move upwards is more the view rather than trying to chase it. But I think that just this ratio continuing to drop off, but then gets like these huge waves here, a smaller wave here, and a tighter wave here. Seems like these waves are compressing, which would then be the shot upwards. So I think that's something worth looking out for. Get to some crypto here now. Bitcoin is this very simple kind of idea of horizontal resistance. And I believe, yes, so this was a screenshot from our last visit together. And I was just talking about that same kind of thing. We just had consolidation here, a little sideways, and it dropped off. And here, consolidation, and we're just looking at a horizontal midpoint. Below is bearish, above is bullish, and that was also
That's at 10.4.
yeah, just under 10. And then we were looking at the same kind of fractal here, sideways and up, and then it pulled back at the Fibonacci 2/3. Same thing as here. So I still think it's generally bullish for Bitcoin, which is bullish for crypto, though usually I think last time altcoins did kind of not do too great here, and then on this pullback of Bitcoin, it might have been this one, but I think it was this one. I think right in here, altcoins started to gain traction, and then here they rose with Bitcoin for a while. So I think in here, it's possible that we could still see some pullback in some of the altcoin markets, and I'll show why shortly. So we discussed here from these screenshots from the last one what we were looking for, and we are kind of still getting that here. And this was the weekly. And if we just take the same line on the daily, you can see that it's kind of like the old highs, right? And then support was put in twice and has bounced off nicely. On our last program, I spent about 10 minutes talking about Ghost Month, and we'll recap that here. So the first day of Ghost Month was the 19th, where there was a pullback. Ghost Festival was the second, and again here, rejected. And then the 16th.
Bottomed on the equinox.
Yeah, and the 16th here, the end of Ghost Month, was the breakout above this resistance. And then here is Equinox, where it made a nice double bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is important because for the people that, people do astrology in different markets, but I find that GAN and crypto, I've said before, is almost reversed in that, or upside down, in that GAN was really looking at the spring equinox for pivots in traditional markets. And in crypto, I really believe it's the autumn equinox that is the pivot. So when you have, and Ghost Month always precedes the autumn equinox. So when you have a dip into Ghost Month with a higher low into equinox, that's the most bullish setup for Bitcoin. And we're going to see that here. Equinox and down in a bear market. Equinox down in a bear market. But when you have equinox and it can go keep sideways, or when it slightly breaks above, slightly breaks above, slightly breaks above, slightly breaks above, here down and straight down. And here for once, we're seeing a little move above this equinox, autumn equinox consolidation. So
can you give a quick explanation of Ghost Month so our viewers don't think it's
right.
Halloween?
Yeah, so we're gonna get to that in two charts. Yeah. So
okay. I don't know. I'm not.
All good. All good. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have our traditional sort of like breakout here, and here's the old highs. So old tops make new bottoms is something I like to say in a bull market, and then this structural breakout here. So it did these breakouts. It found the resistance into Ghost Month. It found this sort of double bottoming into equinox above this support. So to me, again, that's as bullish as it gets. I made this last night. I think we've actually cracked some highs up here. So I'm thinking this is pretty much bang on. We had this rise, a little doji, a push up and some consolidation, a rise, a little doji here, push up and consolidation, rise, a little doji here, and we're slightly pushing up. So that would be kind of like a 3 drives. And I think a lot of people are going to want to try and short into the upper 13s, lower 14s. And I'm wondering if it's going to be 3 drives, a bit of a pullback and a blow off into 16, so that everyone that tries to, be smart at the same time all gets hit. So Ghost Month, those lines. Yeah, I did a huge article for the last show, and people can check this out. So Coin Street News, and it's the Ghost Month and Bitcoin article. There's a whole bunch of charts, a clip from our interview, more charts. I walk it through year by year and all the stuff I've done. when
Wow.
it is.
You're
Yeah.
prolific.
Yeah, thanks. And then all the results, and then a written description, and then visualized. And here's this year, and we've actually been able to consolidate and break above. So Ghost Month is a call it superstitious time in Asian tradition. It actually started in India. So India and other countries, it's not just China and Southeast Asian countries. So we're talking 3 billion Asians are aware of this superstition, which is sort of has to do with the dead and whatnot. And
every culture has like the Day of the Dead, don't they?
Yeah, and it's supposed to be a very inauspicious time to hold too much investments. So that's why we tend to see, I talked about in the interview, that in a bull market, you'll see, sideways or a little bit of weakness during Ghost Month, and then, a continuation. And in a bear market, it just goes all bad. Now, to show that, we have, so we actually did just show that with Bitcoin here, right? So the beginning, Ghost Festival, which is the midpoint, and then the end of Ghost Month. The lead up into Ghost Month and the beginning day into Ghost Festival is generally the most bearish, and then the backside of Ghost Festival into the end of the month is when people start kind of averaging in. So this part is considered very bad luck, and this part is considered, bettering luck. So let's see if that holds. See? So let's take a look at gold. Well, let's see. First day of Ghost Month, down. Midpoint at Ghost Festival, down. The end of Ghost Festival, down. So we'll zoom in on the 1 hour charts. Here's a little break, a break, a break. And as you can see, this is the beginning day of Ghost Month. It ran that stop, down. This is the midpoint at Ghost Festival, runs these stops and down. Same thing and down. Let's take a look at the Shanghai Composite. Got first day of Ghost Month, boom, down. We got Ghost Festival, boom, down. We're going to look at the S&P. We have a break above. This is the beginning of Ghost Month. It breaks above. It gets absolutely smashed on Ghost Festival. Comes down and down again. And we have some consolidation here at Equinox, which is a positive thing. And that brings us back to here. So all these things I'm often talking about, fractals, whether it's here, the can Trump pull this off kind of thing. The pink line and everything in here is actually a fractal of this, which is actually a fractal of this. And people often say, oh, they don't work, or, it's just, these things are hindsight. But yet so many of these fractals, I've been on the show, walking these through for, a year now. So I think my favorite fractal is this one we did on Ripple called Fractal of Doom, I called it. And the reason it was is because, I was setting it up like this. What is this? This is 3 years ago, July 2017. And I'm saying, hey, this looks similar. It's done. Okay. I ended up, so wait a second here. So I'm saying it looks similar. Here's our boxes. It's going to walk, have a bounce, and then it's done. And what happened? We walked it down together. It bounced. It kept bouncing. And I'm saying we got like these double tops. I did a trading view post on it. Same thing. Hey, if you've got eyes, this looks the same. And then for 3 years, I updated all this stuff as it went. And it has all gone bang on to date. This version of the fractal is bigger than this side here, but it's still all working. And really what this is just market algorithms. And the main market makers have not changed anything with their algos, and they're just walking it down. That's just the way it is. Okay, well, that's just one, there's going to be no more like that. Well, that would be interesting if it were true, but it happens all the time. So we have a bear market from the Bitcoin. This is an altcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin pair. So up here we have the, I guess over here, we have the Bitcoin high of 2013, and it comes all the way down and all the way back up into we'll call it a halving pump. And then this is the top of the pump, and on the back side of the pump is where Litecoin mining rewards have. So we have a Bitcoin all-time high right over here. We have a bear market for Litecoin Bitcoin. We have a pump into halving. It dumps into halving, just like over here. slides across with a bump and slides over, slides across with a bump and slides over.
What about now? You know, we're getting a lot of history lessons here.
Yeah. So right now,
you have any future projections on any of these?
Yeah. So right now, it's either right in here or right in here. Now, this is important because whether it's here or here is sort of, I don't know, a moot point, because the point is it's sliding down on this last leg. And I believe the same thing is happening with here with XRP, where we've had this orange box, dip, rejection at the orange box, and then we're in this last push. Orange or yellow box, sorry, not orange, dip, rejection at the box, and sliding down. Now, both times, this was sort of when Bitcoin started its rise. And, you know, that's kind of what I'm talking about here, is that we should start seeing this rise. And that's back over to here. This was a screenshot, right, from our last time together, that I'm saying, I'm thinking that it's just slowly rising up into the all-time highs here, which is, to me, confirmed by, you know, that was kind of happening here last time, and that's kind of where this is again. And with Litecoin, well, that was happening kind of here, and here we are again. What about Ethereum? You know, same kind of thing. So we have, you know, a sideways, a huge bubble, sideways, a huge bubble. It walks down, and as this horizontal comes up, hits it, rolls under, hits it again, and goes. This is a little lower, but hits on the bottom side of the slope, crosses over, hits resistance, which are these lows, As it crosses above, it comes back down for a dip, crosses above, and it's come back down for a dip. So this would be I think this is just meant to chop people up before it goes up, which is exactly like what we're seeing here, right? Whereas this was a slow grind, and this is a slow grind in here. I think that Ethereum is at the same point in the cycle, and it's doing the same thing. It's just trying to grind people out. If people want to look more about altcoins and alt trading, I did up a big article on what is alt season, which is a big thing in terms of cyclical aspects. Let's see if I can find, where is it? Where and when? That wasn't it, sorry.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, here it is. So here's a great, therealaltseason.com, and then click on the first one, and then how to trade altcoins and alt season. Is about 1,500 words on just long-term trends, simple breakouts, playing it sort of in a Livermore style. And then again, here's another example of how I believe altcoins are cyclical, and for the most part, you only want to trade them once a year. I don't think it's wise to be, like, unless you're, you know, margin trading or trading coins that are just moving. A lot of the time it's kind of like an IPO. You know, when new coins are coming out on the market, you want to hit it when they're fresh. And if it's trending, you know, keep going. But other than that, you know, as you can see, quick up and takes forever down. Quick up and takes forever. So quick up and takes, you know, it's like a lot of these coins, you'll see a 30-day market cycle up and a 200-day market cycle down. So alt season is generally around December 6th is when you start looking, and into
does that have anything to do with the end of tax loss selling?
I don't think so.
Does that happen in altcoins? Like,
well, you know, that's what they try and say, you know, but I don't think that, because Bitcoin is the thing where the majority of the market cap traditionally sat. So I think that these cycles have been around since before the altcoin market caps were high. So I just think it's a weird kind of GAN seasonal cycle kind of thing. Okay, and I was saying altcoins.
You're still
right,
following.
So it's the time to hit, and then alt season is December. And I believe that this dip into December, and that this last sliding here, this last bit of slide here in December would then confirm all those kind of ideas. So I think that the market is structurally bullish as long as we stay above this kind of box here. So these lows that were put in here, they spent time, and then these highs. So structurally above 10.2 here is just great. And, there could be like coronavirus, kind of like when people panicked in here and it just snapped back. So there could be, a pullback into this range, a panic wick and go again. But generally speaking, this 10.2 to 9.8 is where things are going to sit.
You're still following cannabis issues?
The market itself is having so much problems, and now with coronavirus and regulations, and you got people like Aurora, and companies like that just bought, and now the market hasn't really responded, and now they're so far underwater. So I think a lot of these companies are going to have a harder time bouncing than they should have in a proper market. Like we should have seen some better, balanced.
You're not buying enough.
Yeah, and I think that the next.
It's a black market killed it, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, black market prices are half the price in Canada. So it's when they say things like, we talked about that before. The price is $7.50. Well, no, the legal price is 10 and the black market price is 5. So $7.50 is the price, but it's not really. So I think that people might want to be really looking at.
What's your highest conviction position going into the end of the year?
Oh, for me, it's always it's definitely Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, And I just want to, what do we got here? 3-4 minutes, quickly talk about the election. So back in September, I think generally speaking, back in here, when everything was fine and the economy was roaring, the economic numbers and the unemployment were so low, there's no way Trump couldn't lose. It was in the bag. Right. Coronavirus screwed it all up. Now there's a lot of bad polling, and what I want to show people so that they can look at good data for themselves, because you can bet on elections.
Yeah,
we have. Yes, I have, and I'll discuss really quickly here what I've done.
Oh yeah, so, don't worry about the 3 minutes. Just
So many of these polls that people are seeing, I think it's here. Look at this garbage. This was back, after the riots, but before Ruth Bader Ginsburg died or anything like that. You got Rasmussen, who was right last time, IBD, Emerson, who was pretty good last time, saying, hey, Trump's close. And you got these other people saying 9, 8, 12. For a while there it was 14, 16. That's just ridiculous. How can there be such discrepancy between people doing the same modeling? And then, so you look at these things, it's called party ID. You gotta look at party ID in the polls. So party ID is really like, I think right now based Gallup, and Gallup does like a monthly poll, and they've done it for like 15 years at least. And it's roughly like, I think it was, the last one I remember was like 30 Dem, 29 Republican, 40 Independent. So you're looking at these things and you're like, well, if it's 30% Democrats and they're polling 39 and independents are supposed to be 40, but they're 34. And you look at these other ones, independents, 14%. Independents, 6%. What kind of crap is this? So like they're purposely making these horrible polls to fit the narrative they want. So then you go over to the actual betting sites and you got, what do you got here? Trump at 273 today, because people generally believe that it's Biden, plus 12. But then we go into these polls and we realize, oh my God, look at this. They're asking 10% more Democrats than Republicans, or they're asking 10 or 15% more Democrats than Republicans. And then on top of it, 6% independents. It's just totally garbage. So if people want to be able to take advantage, of the betting sites and the states and things like this, they have to find the polls. They have to go into the polls. They have to scroll down. You got to find your question, and you have to look at party ID. And then you re-weight the poll based on party ID. And then that way you can find out, is this poll actually accurate? And the same thing goes for the state polls. So here is a site I like to use for gambling on sports. You can gamble on, you can't parlay, but you can bet on the states. This is amazing, actually.
You action junkie.
Yeah, right. So I actually I took Pennsylvania when it was at about 325, 330 after the debate. I believe North Carolina and Florida will go Trump. Trump, as of yesterday.
After the energy comment in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Correct. And after yesterday, Trump took his kind of phone bank man out of Ohio and sent him to Pennsylvania. Yeah. So what I think is happening right now is this is 270 to win. Anyone can go here. So hit map reset. I think Iowa is red. I think Ohio is definitely red. North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Let's flow blue, red. So where are we here? This right now is what I think the best option for Biden is, 270. I don't think Biden goes, or 290. I don't see how Biden goes past 290. I don't see landslides on either side. I think people betting on landslides are mental. Like both sides think that they have this in the bag, so they're both probably wrong. So this is about the best that I think Biden can get. Now, I think that the weakness for him remaining is Arizona, Pennsylvania. People are talking about stuff up here, but I don't really know. I think Pennsylvania is the easiest one to flip. And, you know, generally speaking, as Ohio goes, the election goes. So if, let's say, Pennsylvania right now was blue, but now is gray as of this morning. So let's just say that taking that energy out of Ohio and putting it into Pennsylvania is real. They get that, you know, they're within 2 votes. And if they can flip Pennsylvania and Ohio as the marker, that would lead me to believe that Arizona is going to flip red. So I really think that that's sort of the trifecta there is these are gray right now, Florida and North Carolina, but the polling numbers and the pre-data really makes me think that North Carolina and Florida can go red. I think Pennsylvania can flip red, and if so, it will take Arizona with it. And if not, and they can't take Pennsylvania, they probably won't take Arizona, which means that Biden ends with a high watermark of 290. And if Trump can win, I think he's winning it at, what is this, 279. I don't see landslide.
All right, so then doesn't that kind of, you know, everyone's talking about Trump contesting. What if Trump wins a close election and Biden contests? I mean, I think if it's close, it's going to be contested. I think this gets up at the Supreme Court. What do you think?
Yes, I don't see how it can't be contested. I think North Carolina is allowing like 9 days after for ballots to be counted. I think Pennsylvania is doing something like even if your ballot signature is illegible, it's still going to count. There is going to be so much contesting. Okay. I had done a map the other day where it was 269. So it's not, I don't see a landslide. I think it's going to be tight. And I think that's exactly why Trump did and had to get a Supreme Court justice on before, because the crap that's coming out of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina in terms of ballot counting and mail-in ballots is the classic setup of, you know, whoever loses is going to blame one of those states for election fraud, and it's going to be a nasty. And there's no way that this is decided on the 3rd, unless it's Biden 290 kind of thing.
Okay, and Bitcoin does well in that environment.
So, you know, Bitcoin has been just risk on, risk off with the market itself. And I think that back here, that if we see some...
So when you think...
I don't know, at the end of the day, everyone is stimulating, and stimulus is pushing everything up. And if the markets stay risk on, Bitcoin's going to go with it, and it's going to go with it at a higher return ratio.
Okay, I'm looking for a 15% correction from the highs.
Of the recent,
so,
yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so appreciate it. Wow. You know, it was almost a lecture
Yes,
rather
you know,
than an interview. So I appreciate you coming in, Matt, and sharing your ideas. And Matt is bullish. Matt Thistle, bullish Bitcoin, buy the break. Would you? Do you think it's possible, if we have risk off, that Bitcoin could pull back to 9,000?
Yeah. So that basically comes back to this sort of. Yeah. This all here that where's the daily? Yeah, weekly. So that 10-2 right here,
okay.
And then here at that base. So this sort of pocket in here is what bulls have to certainly defend for this huge, where is it? Huge structural possibility for everything to just go up for a year.
Okay. Well, in honor of Ghost Month, boo, Matt.
Boo!
Boo. And, you know, I hope you have a great, hope your bets work out on the election, and appreciate you being here today, my trading warrior brother.
Awesome. Thank you for having me again. See you in a few months.
Okay, buddy.
Okay.
So that's a wrap for us on Turnaround Tuesday, everyone. Good hunting. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios.